All right, it looks like we're going. So, Bizbop boarded the ship at random as it left the plane Urs and continued on into the astral sea. He doesn't know why he did it. In fact, we might have discussed at an earlier point that he didn't do it, but he did it, so he's here. And you're fiddling around with something in the ship, um, just as across the way you're in the ship in the plane of Tavernae. And from what you've been told of the outside, you haven't really gone out and off the ship. Tavernae is this weird plane that seems to be a bit of a marketplace, a bit of a trade hub. But you're not terribly concerned with that. You're concerned with this technological wonder and exploring all the depths and such of it. Um, Meanwhile, across the Arcane Sea is an adventurer with his group of adventurers. They traveled via Pylon, a strange arcane device that allows them to travel great distances to set locations. And as they click or use the pylon to return them back to the pylon in the ship, there's a tear, and all of the individuals that are there on Ixalan are pulled into the tear suddenly as the pylon is shattered. Um, at that very same moment,
What
the
the hell?
thing that you're working on, Bizbop, starts to like spark and like become prismatic and strange, and then after a fashion, this guy kind of just deposits out of this maelstrom of energy, which now lingers in the back of the hold that you were in, and the room that you're in seems to change. Like you think you're still in the same part of the ship, but you don't remember how you got here, and you're trying to think how it was that you did come here. But you feel like something shifted, something changed.
Oh, oh my! This is very different.
So this cloaked figure kind of just deposits out of the hole and appears on the ground in front of you. Meanwhile, in Faerun, for whatever reason, Dieter, your character is doing something that elicits a strange reaction in the weave, and your character is
I do.
based. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. Continue.
Okay, is basically caught into strands of the weave and torn away from realm space and ripped away very suddenly. Meanwhile, at the same time, on the plane of Zendikar, traveling individual, whatever your backstory beforehand, a similar circumstance arises where a strange malady appears before you and rips you into it, probably a hedron of some sort, and tears you across astral space. So I will deposit you as you appear, but for now it's just Bizbop and Dari in the hold of the ship.
I light a flame on my finger so I can see.
Is there no light?
It doesn't look like there's light. It's all super dark.
Hold on. You should be seeing dark vision, but if you're lighting produce flame, that's fine. Here you go.
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty dark to me.
How about now?
Sweet! I got a flaming
Yep.
finger.
Looks great. Yeah, and Dari sits up as he gets his shit together, and he's looking around, holding his head. And he goes, "What the hell was that?"
Do I know this guy at all from camp or anywhere?
You've probably seen him around. He actually was with other members of the ship. Last you saw him traveling around with Farron and Shadow and the like, those people, the other ones. But
Okay.
he doesn't appear to be appearing here with any of those individuals.
We seem to be in the ship's hold, but it's not the ship's hold.
What do you mean? And then Dari looks behind him and he says, "Ah, what the hell is that?"
Make a dexterity
scrambles
saving
away.
throw before you
who?
scramble away, you and Dari.
Okay.
Not good enough. A turtle comes sliding out of the hole and hits you in your ankles, and he appears to be sliding on his back.
It's a shell from Mario.
Real quick, as you kind of are deposited out of this strange space, Dieter. Describe your character, but before you describe your character, I'll have the other two describe their characters, as you'll probably be noticing them as you're kind of deposited in this hold.
My character is a very large turtle. That's really the long and short of it. I mean, grayish green in coloration, slick, wet-looking skin, perhaps, a long, pointed turtle nose, like a water turtle. As he's flying through the ether, he's probably panicking a little bit, and his maybe actually you just see his nose poking out, because in a dangerous situation like this, I guarantee he has pulled his legs and head back up into his turtle shell, and it is really just a Mario turtle shell spinning through the oblivion.
Yeah.
So you basically hitting Endari and causing him to basically go ass over tea kettle has kind of stopped your momentum. So you're kind of just spinning there slowly in the hold, like right there where you stand.
Since this is the second time he's fallen over, I'll be like, "You have trouble standing, sir."
And describe your character to Dieter and Chad likewise.
A red gnome. Definitely, he seems like he's a bit of a scholar, but more of a hardened clothes, leather, not armor leather, but just the pants wise. He seems like you're just your normal red gnome, but cool and fiery looking.
Yeah, and red gnomes don't really exist anywhere besides Earth, so he's a confusing, brightly red-haired gnome to you. And then Endari. Push to talk.
Endari is a pretty rugged-looking half elf. He looks like he's definitely been around. You know, got a bit of a scruffy beard, short hair, a couple scars. Well, looks like a long blue coat, but he's got sort of a patchwork assortment of studded black leather armor over it, with like utility belts and stuff like that. He's kind of covered in dirt and mud and, you know, odd exotic leaves. Looks like he just came stumbling out of the jungle.
Okay. And then you kind of, get to your feet and move aside from the strange portal way. And just as that's happening, out from it, more calmly, a bit more grounded, steps out describe your character, Lorenzo.
Well, firstly, she's not going to walk out calmly, because she was previously chasing after some small little creature of some sort.
Okay.
So she just falls flat on her face. Just dives forward out of it.
This
Endari points at her and says, "See, it's not just me."
the ground that you hit is very solid and appears to be made out of worked steel.
Okay, so as she kind of pushes herself up, very dazed, she's fairly typical looking core, blue-gray skin, white hair, maybe shoulder length, light gray eyes, wearing basic leather harness and kind of a half plate kind of thing. Lots of ropes and hooks everywhere. Little weird tentacle things on her face, which is kind of odd, but unless you're familiar with core, it's not.
So, the turtle certainly is not, being from Faerun. Neither is Bizbop. The lanky human kind of resembles what you recall the Cardiffs looking like in Urs, but you never really met one. And then, Endari, did you ever make it to Zendikar in your travels?
I can't remember if I put that in or not. But
Okay, I know Mirrodin was in there, but they don't have core.
yeah,
And
I mean,
neither
he's been
does-
to a lot of different places.
Okay. So you might have. Now let's go ahead and say no. You probably haven't.
Alright, well, she looks weird as you would expect then.
Yeah.
And she's just gonna kind of continue scrambling around looking for whatever it. Did anything else come through with her, or was it just her?
If she had anything on
Like-
her, yeah.
She was no, she was chasing. I'm not sure what it was. It was a little creature of some sort.
Okay. No.
No. Okay. Well, she'll look around for it, very confused.
Okay. As you're kind of
Where did it go? Where did it go?
okay, as you guys are kind of like getting situated, a fifth member appears through the hole and just kind of thunks on the ground just behind or beside this white-haired woman. When it hits the ground, you notice that it is completely covered with burns, and everything on it seems to have been scalded into its flesh.
Yikes.
Wait, this is another figure that just came through the portal?
Yep.
Oh, they just keep coming. On the ones I don't know, I'm gonna kind of back up and be more careful with them, and kind of have my little finger that looks like a little welding torch right now pointing at them.
Okay.
Can I inspect the body and try to identify it? See if it's somebody I know.
Sure. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
And I'm gonna jump to the side, kind of away.
Okay.
I don't know anyone else, but they're not burning.
It's really absolutely impossible for you to kind of come to any conclusion. It doesn't seem to be anybody that you know, but based on the amount of weight that seems to have been kind of burned away by whatever it was, combusting it, you're not certain. There's no signs on it that kind of point to any kind of race or gender.
I got you.
Just yep.
Can I try to identify what kind of burning it is? Like acid, electricity, fire,
Arcana check.
molten rock?
And by the way, just a heads up for everybody. If you don't want Chad to run the show, all you have to do is speak up. Talk over Chad. I will definitely give you priority over Chad.
I am literally still in a shell. I just hit the metal ground with a loud clanking thud, and nothing. You see that nothing has happened.
And Dari, you assume it's fire, but you feel like there's something stronger here. The only thing that is kind of like ringing a bell in your head is possibly dragon fire or spell fire.
I look at the core and I point at the body and I say, "Friend of yours?"
Not mine. I was alone.
I'm gonna move over and knock on the shell. Hello, sir. Or madam. Nothing? Okay.
Push to talk.
He's hiding.
Okay,
I guess
so-
I'll scoot forward and she'll check out the body since it didn't attack or explode.
Okay. Yeah, it's... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sure, I mean, you said it's really, really burned up, but
Mhm.
how many limbs does it have? What configuration are they in? Just basic things.
Humanoid. It appears to be humanoid. Based on its just bone structure, some sort of, common humanoid or demi-human. It's going to be an investigation check or a medicine check to try and figure out what it might have been or what it,
Okay, I'm gonna run with medicine.
Yeah, you're pretty sure that it's probably either human, elven, core like yourself, or one of the basic humanoids therein. From where you're from, it would be either human, core, or vampire. But it's so destroyed. You're not able to tell much, but you are able to kind of ascertain that you're pretty sure that it was a male.
Is that portal still that we all came through still open, or is it
Yep.
closed?
seems to be just a malignant kind of like presence that seems to be kind of roiling with kind of this weird bluish, kind of purplish energy.
Is that yours? I'll point at it.
And Dari's going to walk up to it.
Okay.
Right about there, and use
Finish the sentence. There's nothing I hate more than dead time.
that ability.
Yeah, it's a planar portal.
He kind of sucks his breath through his teeth and says, well, that's not good.
What is it? Why isn't it good?
And Dari points at it and he says, that right there is a planar portal. But I didn't make it, and I don't think you did either. I think it just happened. And last time I checked, well, we don't exactly just keep one of those things lying around.
Well, you didn't just show up here. I was on the ship, and something has changed with it. I don't know exactly what happened, but we might want to move ahead and maybe check out other areas as well to see if anything else has changed or happened.
You may have noticed it like out of the corner of your eye before, but you're kind of taking more of a glance over at it and seeing it for what it is. You look at the passageway where you are pretty sure you came through, and you notice that the passageway, the doorway, is blocked with a blue just force. It doesn't seem to be terribly transparent, kind of semi-transparent, I guess, but it wasn't there a minute ago. It wasn't there before all this started happening.
That's different. And you said that's the door to get out,
That's-
not the portal.
That's the way you came into where you thought you kind of came to. Like, when you came into this room, you came in through the east.
Okay, I'm gonna try to investigate it.
Okay. When you say investigate it, what exactly are you doing?
To see what it is,
No.
to see what it's made of.
What I'm asking you is are you just inspecting it with your eyes? Are you trying to touch
Yes.
it? Are you trying to
No,
poke it with
I'm
a
not.
stick? Are you
I'm not touching it yet. I'm just inspecting with eyes.
Okay, so you get nothing more than it's this strange blue field that seems to be inhibiting passage, or
Any
maybe
cold or hot or any vibrations
Nothing.
coming off it or anything like that?
nothing at all. You can kind of see the outlines of something beyond it, but you're not sure what they are because it's very murky.
So it seems like water.
No, it's just
Oh,
like you're
okay.
seeing beyond it. It's like looking through like frosted glass.
Okay, I'm gonna go try to pick up one of the smaller boxes or something and throw it through it.
Okay. You pick up, one of these boxes over here and trying to, shove it over there. You can make a strength athletics check to see if you can heft it to throw it. Nope. You try and lift it, and it's a bit too heavy. The smallest of the boxes that you could find. You think you might be able to push the turtle and then let him go, and he'll slide across it, maybe bounce into it, if he continues to stay in his shell.
I'll try to do that since nothing came out.
I willingly accept this endeavor.
Okay. You
Wait, are we about to hockey puck the turtle into the portal again?
you kind of push the turtle and kind of like let.
Before
Go
I
ahead.
push him, I'm gonna say Eins, Vines, Drines. It's push cart time and push him.
And you push him and let him go. When he hits the wall, he just kind of stops, and like all of his momentum just stops. It seems to have hit, but not like bounced.
When he stops at the wall, you notice the shell slowly begin to move back toward you, And from your vantage point, being a couple feet higher, being, standing on your feet, you can see out of one of the little holes on the side of the turtle shell, a long stick starts to come out, and then a little turtle paw, and you realize that whatever is inside of the shell has, used a quarterstaff to push himself away from the wall.
Okay.
And then a leg pops out, and then the second arm pops out, and then the other leg pops out in very comedic fashion. And then a long turtle face pops out on a long neck with a long pointy nose. And he looks around the room and he scans and he's trying to figure out maybe who pushed him across the floor, and he says, "Well, that was a very unpleasant experience."
There's something in there.
Yes, I'm in here. What did you think it was?
I did not know. I've never seen anything like you before.
You've never seen a turtle?
Never a talking one.
You didn't know I could talk before. It still should have looked like a large turtle.
Just saw the shell.
Yes, a turtle shell. That's the point that I'm trying to make, young man.
Well, this is peculiar indeed.
I use my quarterstaff to pull myself up, and I start investigating the blue wall.
Okay. When you investigate it, are you doing so with just your eyes, or are you doing something besides that? Your shell has bumped into it, but it doesn't seem to have passed it at all, or left any remnant or effect on your shell.
This is an out-of-character question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something I could do to investigate it with more than my eyes? I mean, I have the detect magic spell, but I'm certain it's already magic.
Yeah.
I can poke at it with my quarterstaff and see what's going on, see if I get any physical reactions one way or the other. Does it undulate when I poke it, or is it rock solid? Does it make a noise like glass or metal? I'm looking for sensory input.
If you're poking it, what you'll notice is that upon the staff touching it, at its end, you see that it doesn't exactly ripple. It doesn't ripple like water would. It seems to kind of quiver a bit, almost like gelatin or like Jello being shaked in a cup. It doesn't ripple like water. As you kind of investigate it a bit more, you can kind of see that as you're kind of touching it, it seems to distort whatever's beyond. But you think you might be able to kind of work out what's on the opposite side. It looks like there is a path that leads out of this place. So the exit of this place, with the exception of the weird maelstrom portal, seems to be beyond this weird wall.
That is most definitely the way that I've come from, and for some reason we are now locked in here.
Med, as you kind of look around, you see that there are a series of boxes. One, the smallest one, kind of up front, the gnome tried to pick up. Apologies. There's the portal behind you. On the south opposite of the boxes, there is a kind of a seat or chair that seems to be kind of set in the wall at a strange desk with a light on it. These lights are very dim. And then, of course, there is the blue wall, or blue door, rather, that's blocking passageway.
Can I begin searching the room, the desk, the boxes?
Hold on. You have the wall. I'm talking to Lorenzo. Go ahead, Lorenzo.
I'll just point at the door, what?
Okay.
What is it? I'm very confused.
Okay. So then the turtle kind of wanders over and starts looking over at the desk, I presume was where you were heading, Dieter?
Desk first.
Okay. You go over to it, and it seems to be the chair is more of a bench, really. And it's kind of weird shaped, but I'll point it out. It's kind of right there-ish. And when you kind of walk over to it, it's kind of like a bench, and then there's a lever right in the center and a light on the left side. The light is currently kind of glowing a bluish color, and the lever seems to have 3 settings that it can be put into.
I'm gonna go 30 foot back and start moving the lever with Mage Hand.
Okay. You guys see him walk away from the desk. As he's doing so, does anybody else have anything to interject? Last call before he starts pulling levers.
Sorry, push to talk's being weird. Endari is going to pick up the corpse real quick before I do what I'm about to do. It's just like a completely incinerated humanoid corpse, right? Like nothing is intact?
Correct.
Okay. Endari picks up the corpse and just tosses it into the portal.
Okay. The second you see it kind of hit the edges, you see that it kind of pushes the maelstrom away like water, and once it kind of gets more into the core, you see it just become ash and fall to the ground below the portal. It seems the outer edge of this portal is kind of watery and seems to move like mists or like liquid, but once it kind of gets to the center core of it, it basically just decimates, or rather just obliterates the rest of the physical body, and there's nothing but ash on the ground beneath the portal.
Yeah, Endari like makes a really disgusted face and he says, "Well, that's not going to work."
Okay.
Well, it's like I didn't stick my head in there.
The turtle kind of reaches out and casts the spell Mage Hand and grabs a hold of the lever. The lever is currently set in the position that is closest to you. There's a position that's in the middle, and there's a position that is the furthest away from you.
Well, start with the middle position because that seems to make the most sense.
Okay. The second it hits there, you see the light kind of turn a brighter blue, and the wall that the doorway rather becomes a lighter blue. And seems to kind of shake and quiver a bit once that happens.
When it turns a lighter blue, can I see through it?
You can actually see a little bit more through it, and it looks like there's a weird walkway, but it seems to be over some sort of like gap. You can't see past the gap, but it looks like there's a strange catwalk on the opposite side.
How far away is it?
Probably about 20 or so feet.
Can I Misty Step to it since I can see it?
Are you going to cast Misty Step and appear on the opposite side?
Yes.
Okay. You guys watch as Endari disappears and appears on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and move you to the other map, and I need you to go ahead and just make me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, shit.
Success. Go ahead and take 14 points of damage. This is considered fire. It's considered fire, but if you have resistance or immunity to it, you are not immune or resistant to it.
Well, damn it. Okay, so how much damage do I take?
So 14. You succeeded, so yeah, 14 is what you would take. And you feel like the effect that you are leaping into. Do you see the map? Do you see the map? Chad?
Yeah, sorry, push to talk. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so you're out like on a weird catwalk, and everything around you is burning. It feels like you are in raw spellfire. You turn around and can see the portal behind you, the weird blue barrier, and ahead you can see another blue barrier.
Is this blue barrier ahead of me? Is it like the same sort of consistency as the one behind me? Do I
It's
think
the same.
I can
It's
reach
the
it and teleport through it again?
It's the same consistency as the one that beforehand. It's the same consistency as the before the lever was pulled. Meanwhile, real quick, since that's basically one round.
It's cool. Side note, I'm just gonna Misty Step back in as soon as fucking possible.
Okay. Since that appearing was going to be the damage point, you're casting Misty Step again. Go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw. Here's the fun part.
All right, so real quick, that was 14 points of fire damage the first time, correct?
Correct.
Now I'm Misty Stepping back.
Yep, make your Constitution saving throw.
And while he does that, I'm gonna walk over to the lever and look and see if there's any kind of markings on each position, like just say what it does.
Okay, so you see him appear back in. When he appears back in the room, you notice that there's this wispy, like, smoke almost, but it's not smoke. It kind of moves differently than smoke does. It kind of moves with tendrils, like shadow or like a strange flame that just ignores gravity. But after you get through, you're taking 16 more points of damage, Chad. You just have this weird scent about you. You didn't smell it while you were out there, but now that you're inside the room, there's this strange smell of like your character wouldn't know what gunpowder smells like, but everything in this room now smells like gunpowder.
Do they have guns on Eberron?
Yeah, they do. So you would know what gunpowder smells like.
And Dari sneezes. Says that was a terrible idea.
Do I know that is Chad the same character that he has been, just jumping bodies?
No.
Okay, he's different. Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't seem.
Move the leather up into the top position.
Okay. The second you move the lever into the top position, the light goes purplish. The blue barrier disappears entirely, and that weird tendrily kind of blackness starts to move with haste into the room.
I'm gonna see
Close it.
see that and slam it back down.
Okay.
Lever.
All the way back to the first position?
Yes.
Okay. The blue
You're
field
ruining my experience.
the blue field appears again and kind of locks in place. And just about that moment, Greg, are you there? Your mic is muted if you are there. There you go.
Yes, I am.
You see another individual appear out of the portal, just deposited out onto it. Greg, describe your character.
I am an elf wearing dark clothing, hooded figure, and definitely a little mistrusting of these people I'm just seeing in front of me at this point.
For the first time ever. Yeah, and a quick question. Do you have any marks that specifically tie you to your plane?
My clothing is very indicative of my home plane of Ravnica, but nothing in terms of tattoos or facial features.
No markings, no guild pack markings or anything like that?
No, that would be counterproductive.
Agreed. Okay, I was just making sure that you weren't trying to, like, blazingly show, because there's someone who might have been. Okay, anyways, this guy appears, and you guys are currently working out your demons.
We're running out of room in here.
I see what's going on here.
Can I help you?
Well, we all
Oh
seem
no, are you a doctor?
roomed.
Not so much. Yeah, medicine, not really my strong suit. More importantly, what the hell is going on here?
So, real quick, whatever happened before you slipped through the portal, and for whatever reason you entered that portal, is entirely up to you. Your backstory up until the point of forced into my game is entirely yours.
I've got good reasons beyond it, but certainly confused about where I am at this point.
If you haven't been following along, the current room that you're in has 3 main features besides the large portal behind you. There are 5 boxes over on the left side from you. There's a weird desk with a lever on the right side from you. And absolutely straight across from you is a blue wall of force that has kind of a murky, semi-transparent nature to it. It appears that once you were entering in, there was a strange blackness coming through the portal, and it wasn't there, the blue barrier on the other side. And whatever they did to a lever caused the blue barrier to lock in place and become prevalent, and stop the black weird fire coming in.
Ah, well, I'm all for stopping black weird fire, so carry on.
Don't touch the portal.
Right, okay. No touching the portal.
And don't go outside.
That's
about all we know.
Oh, do me a favor, make an Arcana check, actually, now that you've entered the scene.
Sure.
Could I make one, John, or is that not okay?
You've already failed it.
Me?
Yeah.
You
I
didn't
haven't made an
ask
arcane
me.
check.
Somebody failed it.
Okay, I was gonna say I haven't rolled arcane yet. I only rolled athletics, but that's fine. It's no
Okay,
big deal.
no, go ahead and make an Arcana check. You'd probably be you have disadvantage on it based on your home plane. Greg, you're good. Basically, what you've seen so far, portal-wise, you've learned a bit of lore about how planeswalkers work, and the essence that they have that's said to be between the planes. Only planeswalkers can walk through, and the name of that substance, it's called. I think it's Aether.
Yep, it's Aether.
Yep.
Or the Blind Eternities.
Correct, the Blinding Eternities. That's the one I was looking for. So you would know both of those names. Chris, Bizbob is from a podunk plane that really has no connectivity to anything else. So you're not familiar with it. But yeah, it's a bit confusing to be sure. But yeah, Greg, expert on the scene, you know that it's the Blinding Eternities that seem to be coming in.
Oh.
Does it make a difference if I roll as well?
You can go ahead and give it a go. I didn't know you were. Do you have Arcana trained?
No.
No,
I didn't
no.
know. I didn't know if it was just anyone or if we had a specific.
Trained only, yeah.
I would like to look is the air any thinner? Because we've been in here breathing a lot.
Make either a perception or investigation check, your choice.
I'm gonna do perception because I'm actually kind of okay with that.
The second the weird crystal-y kind of door locked back into place, you felt gusts coming from somewhere, and you kind of looked around to see where it might have been coming from. You're not sure where the wind is coming from, this air is coming from, but it seems that somewhere in this room is fueling more oxygen into the place.
Okay, but when the door opened, it was sucked out.
You aren't sure. It definitely smelled a lot different in here. Again, gunpowder being like a expended gunpowder, like burned gunpowder, is the only analogy I can kind of give you that's close. But it's kind of has a lingering smell still, but the air is now fresh.
Okay.
So it's like gunpowder and ozone.
Correct. It's just like how the astronauts explained outer space and the moon smelling.
Ah, okay. Sulfurish.
Yeah, kind of like a weird expended gunpowder, sulfury kind of smell. Yep. Oh, and if you get near Endari, he still smells like it.
He probably reeks of it.
Yeah, he was literally almost engulfed entirely in it.
He's like, only planeswalkers can walk through there, and Indari's like, not true.
I don't think taking two misty steps counts as walking, but okay. I don't have an NPC to sass you, so yeah, thoughts, go ahead.
So have we seen what's beyond this weird blue barrier?
One,
Indari points at this weird blue barrier and he says, beyond this is a walkway, and at the end of that is another blue barrier. But it is a different color. It seems to,
well, no, now that the lever's been pulled all the way down to locked, it's the same exact color as the other one. Basically, there's really solid bright blue, there's light kind of like not as solid blue, and then it doesn't exist anymore.
right. But the point Indari was trying to make was that it doesn't seem like they'll be in the same phase at the same time.
Interesting. And it's dangerous beyond this barrier? If I were to say jump to the other side of it without touching this barrier, do you expect that would be a problem?
Imagine the hottest hot you've ever felt, and also the coldest cold at the same time, times a lot.
Another thing too is you couldn't hear anything. Like it was completely just your heartbeat. Like if you've ever heard of like people experiencing isolation chambers, it's the same kind of feeling you've got.
Okay.
Was it like that scene in Total Recall?
No. Your eyes weren't popping out of your head. Thoughts, guys?
I searched the rest of the room.
Okay. The boxes are pretty much the only thing that haven't really been investigated yet. As you kind of look at them, you see that there's 2 boxes that have kind of this weird yellow and black striping on them. And as you break them open, you see that there are these strange crystal balls inside. But the crystal balls are hollow, and at one end they appear to have like an opening. They're almost like fish bowls, but they don't seem to be able to be sat on anything.
I pull one out and peer into the hole.
Okay. As you kind of peer into it, your head kind of slips into it to kind of investigate, and you feel it kind of just suction onto your head. And once it gets there, the glass that it was becomes translucent and slightly blue, just like the barrier to that wall.
Do I see this happen?
Yeah.
I stick I make my neck really long, and I stick my head up even higher, and I start to twist my head in like the sort of 360-degree thing that a turtle can do, and like look around the room with this big bulbous globe on my head, like.
And you got
this is very strange, but it sounds very echoey because I'm now in a spaceman suit.
As he's kind of turning and looking around with his bubble on his head, you guys are looking at him, and his head is magnified inside of the bubble. So the neck outside of the bubble looks really small, but the neck and the head inside of the bubble looks really big. And he's kind of looking
That's
at you
hilarious.
and going, "This is really strange." The thing you notice most, though, is that when you're breathing, whatever oxygen is most comfortable to your character, or liquid, whatever substance breathing-wise is the most comfortable to your character, that is what you're currently breathing in.
How many of these globes are there?
There's 2 in the box that you opened.
How many boxes?
I take them and stuff them into my pack.
You've got the one on your head, and you put the other one into your pack.
This will come in handy later.
I'll search
Seeing that, I'm gonna walk over and check out.
There's a slightly larger box with yellow and black striping, just like the box he opened. When you open up, there's 4 of these strange globes inside of it.
I will take one out for me and then back away.
Okay. There are, of course, 3 other boxes. In these 3 other boxes, when you kind of open them up, there's 2 of them that seem to have just a bunch of junk parts, pieces of metal, strange just gizmos and gadgets. And the last box that you open, inside there is a strange device that kind of seems to be the only thing inside of the smaller box that was attempted to be lifted. It doesn't look very heavy, but when you try to pick it up, it feels like it's kind of weighted down to you. Like when you try to pick it up, it seems to be kind of heavier than you anticipate. If you do struggle with it to try and get it off of the ground, you kind of feel its weight kind of dissipate once you have it on your person, and you seem a bit more comfortable carrying it.
Interesting. I am gonna cast Detect Magic, and
Okay. Are you doing so as a ritual or as a spell slot?
no, I'm gonna use the slot.
Okay. The portal way glows a lot, and in inspecting it, kind of just looking it over, it seems to be conjuration magic entirely, except for the center seems to be this hot white core of evocation. So basically, it seems that it's kind of a lingering presence of conjuration, like something was deposited here via a summoning, and then the center seems to be this kind of lingering just energy of just destruction. The lever has magic to it, but the magic that's present seems to be very aligned and very focused. You're not sure. This magic is very strange to you, to be sure. You've only seen things like this in the more like structured and ordered areas of your plane, if you've ever been to such a place. The globes, of course, glow, and they appear to be glowing with some sort of abjuration magic. And then the doorway also glows. It's the same abjuration magic as the globes, but it seems to be much, much stronger.
I expect that these globes are critical for moving forward. I'd like to grab one of the globes.
Okay. Does everybody grab one of the globes? There should be a total of 6. Okay. All right. And the only person who's put theirs
So I have two.
on. Yep, you have one in your bag, and the only person who's put one on is the turtle. And then the only other item that was present in there, besides the just bits and gizmos, which don't seem terribly important, was this strange device, which I'll refer to from this point on as the lodestone. Are you keeping a hold of that?
Sorry, I need to just deal with my prepared.
No problem. Nefara is keeping a hold of the lodestone, correct? Greg?
Yes, I'll hold on to the lodestone.
Okay, great. So at this point, I'm just going to reiterate the things we know. You have the globes. If you're putting them on, great. You have the portal behind you, which seems to destroy anything that goes back into it. It seems to be in the way you were deposited here. There's a lever that has 3 settings. First setting seems to make the barrier strong. Second setting seems to make this barrier more liquid-like. And the last setting seems to tear away the barrier entirely and allow the Blinding Eternities to enter into the ship. And on the opposite side of the barrier seems to be another barrier of the same consistency.
The orbs, when you put them on your head, do they just cover your head, or do they?
Just the head.
Is having that bowl on your head very comfortable, sir? Why don't you remove it?
I move my head like very, very close to him and like get my head all up close to the glass so that my big old turtle eye like distorts and gets all comically large. That's an excellent question. Honestly, I haven't tried. And then I try to pull the thing off to see if I even can.
You kind of reach at it and kind of like grapple at it for a second, and finally you figure out like the effect that's been created seems to have kind of caused the bowl to disappear. But when you put your hand to where it should be, you feel the glass and you pull the bowl off of your head, and it returns back to its normal consistency, a glass fishbowl.
Very peculiar.
Well, that's very peculiar indeed. And then I put the glass bowl back on my head and start investigating the rest of the room, walking around very slowly.
Okay. If you haven't made an Arcana check, Dieter, I don't think you have. Go ahead and give it a go. That's fine. And Greg, I'll go ahead and give you another one based on what you've learned so far.
Okay. Arcana. Yeah.
It's okay. You're pretty sure that the bowls, based on what you've seen and what effects you're kind of present with here, will allow you to breathe in any environment, as long as you have the bowls on your head.
Okay.
Dieter, you've kind of been listening and paying attention. You've also had your head in one of these things, and have also touched the barrier in both of its states. You think that if the barrier were in a different state, it might be able to be passed through, just like Andari did, but you're pretty sure that you physically want to pass through it for the same reason you want to put a bowl on your head.
Mm-hmm.
With the bowl on my head, I mage hand the lever into the middle position
Okay?
and try and push my way through the barrier.
You guys watch him kind of hit the barrier, and it kind of and like kind of hit through it, and you are on the other side. All right, does that everybody?
I will put on.
Hi.
Yeah, I put on an orb and follow.
Okay,
Follow him.
I'm gonna go ahead and just get stuff situated here. Bear with me for a second.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll my portent rolls for the day. Excellent.
Yeah.
No, it's perfect. Always good to have a nat 1 at your disposal.
Feel free to just use that on Chad.
Good plan.
Haha.
All right. I'm moving you to the other map. So on the left side of the map is basically the starting point, and you guys would be witnessing as the turtle passes through. As you pass through, you see that your body is now completely coated in this blue liquid, and around your head it's a bit thicker. But you can see out of it. It's clear enough for you to see. There's 2 boxes to your left that are kind of sitting on this platform. There appear to be 3 catwalks, 2 of a yellowish color that kind of lead to just dead ends on the walls, and one that leads across to another blue barrier. There's a series of wires and just parts at the ground near you, and if you kind of look over the edge, you can see that you are looking down into infinity. There is space.
Most peculiar. And I start like poking at the ground with my quarterstaff, looking for solidity and judging like what the material's made out of, and just generally like running my finger along the ozone ooze that's on my mask and just being a curious little turtle.
Okay. Yeah, it appears to be steel or some sort of strong metal. If you tap the boxes, they appear to be similar to the ones outside. On top of one of the boxes is a spanner, and it looks like it's just a series of tools and kit. The boxes there, that's what they are.
I start making my way through the room, investigating.
Okay. Yeah. Nothing peculiar. Just the opposite side. There is the. You have to. It looks like you might want to cross the catwalk and go to the other side. That's an option. But yeah. Anybody else have anything that they want to do while they're on this platform here?
I don't have a token on this platform.
Yeah, you do.
And Dory just wants to make his way across as quickly as possible.
You're gonna walk across.
Is the door on the other side? Is it the same color as the one we walked through?
No, it is the more solid color. Dieter, what are you doing? Move your token back to where you were. Don't be a turkey. Joe Orbecking it.
I don't even know what that means.
Moving your token when you're not supposed to move your token where you're moving your token.
Did much of the moving.
And there's just a single catwalk.
There's a catwalk that leads across to the barrier on the opposite side, and there are 2 yellow catwalks that seem to lead to the walls of this cavity that you're standing in.
I begin moving down the south catwalk.
Okay.
I think we need to go onto one of the side ones because the one over there is the same color as the one that was.
You come to a wall, and when you get there, you see that there's a small little just metal square that seems to be cut out of the rest of the wall, and there's a small little handle that looks like it can be grabbed and pulled like a door, like a little door.
How big is is there any kind of outline?
Yeah, so the outline of the small little hatch is probably about 1.5 feet tall and about 8 inches wide.
So you're probably not going to fit in there, I tell him as I walk up behind him.
Okay, Dieter, you get to that weird thing. What do you do with it?
Describe it one more time, please.
It's about chest height. Is where it's present. It's a 1.5 feet high, and about 8 inches wide. It appears to be a small hatch on the wall.
Is there a handle? I open
Yeah,
it.
there's a little handle. You pop it open, and inside you see another lever that seems to have 3 positions. It's set in the highest position.
I scuttle backwards and start mage handing the lever.
Okay. Med, you kind of back away. Do you?
Excuse me, young man!
Okay.
I'm like turtle walking backwards because the thing is so short.
Yeah. But you mage hand the lever. You can set it down into the middle position, the lower position, or leave it in the top position. What would you like to do?
I'm always going to start in whatever's next on the list. So if it goes from top to middle to bottom, I'm going to go down to the middle.
Okay. The second you hit it into the middle, you see that the barrier on the opposite side of the barrier that you came through kind of goes the same light blue as the barrier that you came through. So it's now the same color.
Does the large catwalk look sturdy? The catwalk leading to that barrier?
It looks sturdy enough. Yeah.
I'll make my way along it, poking it with my quarterstaff as I go along.
Okay. Yeah.
And before I go across, I'm gonna go up the upper catwalk. And is there a door on that one too?
There's a hatch there as well. Yeah.
Can I open that?
Yep. When you open it, you see that it's set in the middle position, and that there is an upper position and a lower position.
Okay, so it's probably for the door we came in.
Possibly, yeah.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
Okay. Tortle, you make it across. Do you walk through?
Yes, I do.
It deposits you on the other side. In this chamber, you hear the cackling of kind of like electricity burning hot to the north. You see that the passageway to the north seems to be blocked off by this field of just purple and blue lightning. Across the way, you see a couple of strange like desk segments, just like the one that you had seen in the last chamber, and a very weird mechanism on the right wall. And then there appears to be a path that is unburdened and unblocked to the south.
I'm gonna go and poke around down that hallway since don't really have anything to do with anything else.
Okay. That was Med and Nafara. What are you doing?
I should still have concentration on my detect magic.
Yeah, it's going nuts. The main thing that lightning, fire, whatever it is, it's kind of burning in the center there. You get a very strange sense that the center of it is very similar to the evocation rift that you had seen on the opposite side. The other thing, too, is where it's kind of bursting out of, it doesn't seem that it's supposed to be doing this. It seems that this is some sort of problem.
It's a barrier like before, but malfunctioning perhaps.
Perhaps.
All right.
All right. Chad and Dari does what? Push to talk?
Push just
Yeah. Can I see beyond the lightning?
Not really, no. You can kind of make out just the idea of it's very similar to the passageway to the south. And then, go ahead.
Well, and Dari looks at it for a second, and then he just sighs and says, whatever, and then just shoots an arrow into the portal.
You mean the lightning?
Or, I mean, whatever we think is like the nexus happening in the middle.
It's not really, yeah, it's kind of got the same consistency as the
Whatever the
evocation.
part that shouldn't be there is.
Yeah, your arrow just vanishes. It doesn't seem to go through, you don't think. Okay. Chukwa, you kind of came in first and started heading south, and Med seems to have a bit of a longer step and is heading that way as well. Bizbop, you look like you're heading over to these weird mechanisms and checking them out. Go ahead and make me an Arcana check while you do that. And while that's happening, Med and Chukwa can head south.
Okay. I guess we'll just walk down the hallway. Is there anything specifically notable about it? Aside from it being really bizarre.
It's about the same, like, structurally as the rest of the ship that you've seen so far. It's very confusing, to be sure. But as you kind of come around the corner, go ahead and just step down one more. Should be able to see into the room. You see that there's this strange platform that kind of leads up, and you can see this warping of reality that seems to kind of, like, focus inward like a well, and it seems to be just moving the reality present into kind of like a funnel, like I'm trying to think of the word. Basically, when you flush the toilet, my brain is not working. Why can I not understand what that's called?
Vortex.
That's the one. It's like a vortex, but it doesn't seem to be very fast. It's very slow moving.
Okay. And what about this? There's this section here in the middle that's dark.
Yeah, it's just not lit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I guess while they're off poking around down that hallway, and Dari's gonna look around this room for like maintenance hatches or
Sure. Go ahead.
levers or anything.
Make an investigation check. And then back to Chukwa, you are casting the spell Find Familiar, or do you already have it active and you have it familiar on you?
I am trying to figure out how Roll20 character sheets work.
I got it.
Mm,
That makes sense now.
Is there a way to mark a spell as prepared? They all have these red dots in front of them, but I can't activate them.
The red dots mean that they're prepared. If you-
It's edit and it's in the top right corner. I think it's abbreviated to like 3 letters. Yeah, it's prep. It's in the top right corner when you're in the edit mode of the spell.
Okay. Yeah, you got to change it from edit to just the name. It's like a little cog. Click the cog. But Chris Bizbot kind of walks over and very quickly figures out how all of this works. There are 2 levers on the 2 desks that are present, and the levers seem to be controls for the shields outside, very similar to the shields that you saw before. So you'd be able to lower the shield here and lower the shield on the other side at these 2 terminals. The machine thing on the right is the interesting one. It seems to have a series of different arcane marks on it, which are able to kind of quickly decipher, and you realize that the platform in the center of the room is not set there. It appears to be some form of elevator. You kind of look up over your head and you see that there's basically a false ceiling, and it would seem that the floor and the ceiling would move in conjunction and take you upwards or possibly downwards, depending on what option you selected on this device.
I relay that knowledge to the rest of the group and tell them that there's a way that we could possibly go here if we need to.
Okay. I think we'll be getting to that soon.
Yell back down the hallway. But there's a weird thing here.
There's also a weird thing here. Chad basically kind of assisting Bizbop, and Dari says, I don't think that's going to work. And you realize that the flow of energy that's kind of being connected is a strange kind of arcane connection. The platforms and like devices that you're looking for, you realize that this electricity that's cycling through is actually wasted energy that seems to be the powering of the elevator. So the 2 of you work out that this should
There's an
work.
item that's missing that we need to find and put in there.
With
The
that
machine is missing a part.
with that investigation and with that Arcana check too, you remember seeing strange tubes out on the platform, out in the spacewalk, that look like they might fit or kind of help you situate that problem. That said, the 3 of you guys that go to that weird portal, are you guys walking across the expanse of darkness to check it out?
I want to, but I'm certainly the cautious type.
I'm tentatively walking into it.
Okay.
Kind of, putting my foot out in front and my hands to kind of just feel out.
As you kind of get a ground for it, you realize that it really is just the darkness between 2 lights, and you finally make your way to the opposite side.
I'll go once he's about halfway across.
Yeah, you can see his shadow kind of backlit off of the lights, and kind of see him enter into the darkness and vanish, and then you see him start to see her reemerge on the opposite side. Her white hair kind of lit up and shining in the lights that are behind the strange vortex. When you get up to it, you see that on the ground, kind of near it, there's a small label, and the label says, this one says, loading bay.
Just on the ground in big words?
In
or-
the common tongue, it says, loading bay.
Loading bay.
Don't you judge me.
Am I
not
detecting
thinking.
magic from weird cyclonic thing?
250. Do you need money? How much?
Hold on a second. Apologies. Bear with me for a moment.
Yep. I've never played a wizard before. It's interesting having actual useful magic I feel like I can use. I usually play warlocks and never use my spells ever.
Okay, sorry about that. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. What did I miss? What did you guys decide? What are you guys doing?
I'm wondering if there's any magic near me. From
Sure. The vortex, absolutely. The lights, absolutely. Yeah, everything that's kind of present is kind of glowing. But yeah, the magic that the vortex is kind of presenting, you can almost see that there's like a perfect line path that goes into it. It seems to be like a road.
a road.
Or a pathway, or just some sort of very linear line.
And this is the loading bay. Perhaps this is some other manner of portal. I wonder if we were to throw something into this, what the effect would be.
Do you throw something in?
No, I'm still deciding whether
Okay.
this is a wise course of action.
While you think about it, Andari and Bizbop, you guys kind of have an idea of how to fix it. Does one of you go back out onto the catwalk, grab some pipes and tools, and come back in here and try and fix it?
I do.
Yes.
I like tinkering.
Okay, the two of you kind of, using the bubble, kind of move back into the field with the coating, go back out into the workspace, and I need the two of you to decide who's going to be primary for Arcana and who's going to be primary for just a. I'm trying to think of the tools that would be used.
Dexterity. I mean, I'm proficient with these tools.
Thieves' tools would be good. Thieves' tools would be something. So yeah, if you are proficient with thieves' tools, you can make a thieves' tools check, and then so you'll be the thieves' tools, and Bizbop will be the Arcana. Go ahead and make your checks.
Cool. So we go out using the buddy system. We get the parts we need. Come back in and get to work.
Yep. And Bizbop seems to have a good handle as to where things are supposed to go. You guys are talking it out, working it through. All right. You managed to basically get a line in between, causing the weird lightning to kind of die down. It's still present, but it's more of a static now. And you've connected the line, and you can hear now a vibration from underneath the platform. You're pretty sure that if you were to start switching stuff, you'd be able to move through it. Another thing you notice too is that after it's done, the strange core of the lightning is no longer kind of a purplish color; it's more of a bluish color.
After we repair that, I mean, it looks like there's a hallway beyond there. Can we?
You can walk through the static to go to the other side. That's absolutely yeah.
Okay. Then Andari will proceed carefully and do just that.
Okay. Bizbop, you're staying at the central hub there because the other portion of the team's gone the other way?
Yes.
All right. Andari says to Bizbop, "I will be right back."
Okay.
Be careful. We don't want another mishap.
Just go ahead and hop around the corner. You're basically going to see a very similar circumstance to them. Meanwhile, as they're fixing that and you guys are looking down into this weird vortex, it says loading bay on it. You guys were talking about throwing something into it, right?
I'll take a step forward.
Uh-huh.
I'll take one of my ropes with like a hook on the end, and I'll kind of dip it into the vortex.
Okay. So you see this very...
The rope is not attached to me.
Sure. So you're holding it. You see this very strange circumstance arise where it kind of dips in and it looks like it's going in at a normal rate, but then you see it start to become very long and thin and like moving down into the vortex. It's not being yanked out of your hands. It just seems that it's being kind of spaghettified into the vortex.
I deem this unsuitable for human transport.
Do you pull the rope back out or do you let it...
Yeah, I'll.
Okay.
I'll
When you
let
pull it out, it's completely perfect. It does not seem to have any physical alterations to it. It's exactly the way it was before you started dipping it into the vortex.
Okay, well then, obviously I will then stow my rope and put my hand in. How big is the vortex?
It is about 15 feet, maybe a little less than 15 feet wide. And when you put your hand in and kind of dip it down, you guys watch as his hand kind of like slowly starts to elongate. If you've ever seen the movie Army of Darkness, when his face is getting sucked into the thing, only there's no pain. It doesn't hurt. It just seems like his features and his hand are kind of like descending down, and you can see his fingers like little wires of spaghetti straight down into the vortex.
And I'll pull it back out, and it's
Perfectly normal.
Should I jump in?
I
Check.
wouldn't advise it.
Rope.
Chat, on the opposite side, you see a long path of darkness, and on the opposite side, you see a vortex, similar to the vortex I've already explained to them.
Well, since his new friend Bizbop seems awfully keen on things of an arcane nature, and my knowledge with planar portals, albeit expert, is also limited. So he's immediately going to head back into the other room and say, Bizbop, hey, come take a look at this.
I would follow.
Okay. You go over there, and once you get over to that, you see that it's very similar to the portal I've already explained to the other group, except that this one has a title card that says Medical Deck.
This is very strange. What?
Seeing as how I've been on the Yggdrasil for a little while, do I know about these parts of the ship?
Not a lot of people have traveled around the Yggdrasil. Basically, think of it this way. The ship that you're on and the ship that you've been on is like being on a cruise ship. In the first day or two of being on a cruise ship, you don't go everywhere. You don't see everything. You probably stick to your cabin, stick to the main hold. There's so much more to be seen. Now we're in the bottom basement of the place, and you guys are seeing shit for the first time. So, no, you've never seen anything like this.
Alrighty. So yeah, I'm with Bizbop on this. I'm gonna follow his lead.
Okay. And Dieter, welcome back. You see that your friends, the strange elf, elf, and the strange white-haired
Core.
female. He doesn't know that you guys haven't had any conversations about what your names are, for that matter. It's like
Sure.
those other individuals are over there by this weird vortex.
I mean, we've been pretty preoccupied.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That is the exact goal. It's like the weird forcing the social thing while also being a doer. I want to get shit done. I don't want to be stuck in this room forever. I get it. Makes sense.
Sorry, I had to step out for a second. What did I miss in the last 3 minutes?
So basically, you have chosen the side and kind of wandered over to the side where the weird white-haired woman and the strange elf guy, who you assume is a mage based on his spellcasting, are standing over this vortex that seems to just funnel straight into a floor. They said that the title card says loading bay, and you saw the white-haired woman dip a rope into it, and it seems to have spaghettified it, and then when she pulled it back out, it was normal. Then she put her hand in and did the same. When she pulled her hand out, it was normal. It seems to be some sort of pathway into a very strange kind of rending of space to allow for direct link to a different location.
So it goes to a loading bay, but what is a loading bay?
I don't know.
I'll turn questioningly to the elf.
You would know what a loading bay
You're
is.
gonna have to repeat literally all of that because I got sucked out again. I'll tell you. Okay, so here's what happened. 2 college students just walked into my house. They're doing a college, neighborhood survey where they're looking for local vegetation and what people are growing in their front yards. And I'm literally the only house on a block of apartments with a huge garden out front of my house that I tend to. So they had a lot of questions and they needed to take pictures.
No worries. No worries. We'll just assume that if you're back, you're back. If not, Toril is just in basically passenger mode. But the sorry, I won't say it out loud. Nefara is familiar with what a loading bay is. There are a series of different ships and transports from where you're from that have such holds.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you bet that this goes to This must mean we're on a ship of some kind. If you think this goes to the loading bay.
At this point, I'm getting that assumption. At first, I thought this was the loading bay, and
Dang.
this portal was where cargo was loaded into us. But since there's nothing here, I think you're probably right.
And Indari and Bizbop, are you guys playing around with your portal as well?
I would be, yes. I'd be trying to investigate.
Yep. So you very quickly figure out that it's a strange kind of rending of space that allows you to get from one point to another.
Well, I think we should probably go find our other companions before continuing on.
I would be saying about the same thing to.
So the two groups, after realizing that they're rushing off, and you guys wander back into the center chamber where there's a perfectly good functioning elevator.
We found this portal over here. It seems like it goes somewhere.
It's labeled
It's-
loading bay.
Ours is labeled medical bay.
Well, I don't particularly want to be in either of these places, honestly.
Is there any kind of similar signage around this room, like where the elevator goes?
The elevator has 3 markings. There's one marking that shows what looks like a boat, and it's kind of got an arrow pointing at the top. Then there's another symbol that kind of looks like a boat, but it's an arrow pointing at the middle of it. And then the last symbol appears to be just a black box drawn into the yeah.
I mage hand smash that button that shows the arrow pointing at the top of the boat.
Okay, the second the hand touches the button, the floor starts to move underneath you guys.
Whoa!
And it starts to go straight up. It doesn't seem to have like a shaking or anything. It's very smooth in its action. Does anybody want to hop off before it goes up?
I suck into my shell.
I'm entirely unfazed.
Ride together,
just
die
kinda
together.
Crouch down a little bit and look
Alright.
around.
Once the floor becomes the ceiling, and you're now inside of the ceiling, you're now in a base. You're basically inside of a box. The ceiling above you, you hear this very strange clicking noise, and when you look up, you see that the ceiling dissipates and is now kind of just a netting with wooden rungs, kind of like holding this metal mesh in place. The metal mesh opens up, and you are lifted up, and then the metal mesh drops down, and you are set down with no floor underneath you on top of the metal mesh. You appear to be out on the deck of a ship. And I'm going to move you to it, and I apologize for this drawing. It's the best I could do because there weren't too many images that fit the description I was going for. This is kind of embarrassing, but we're going to do it anyway.
It's okay. I support you. As another terrible artist, I support you.
I do too, financially.
I didn't. Here we go! When you appear at the top of this thing, you hear this strange sound as this very strange entity kind of lands at the head of the ship. The entity in front of you appears to be this very worm-like or insect-like creature, but it's completely made out of metal. And as it's kind of like landing on the front mast of the ship that you're on, you notice that sections of the back of it start to kind of jostle and move. Its eyes seem to kind of focus in on you, and you hear this sound coming from it. Just so you can kind of get an air of what your surroundings are like. Directly above you, because you're... Hold on a second. Let me try and show you where we're at on the craft. Everybody has Discord open, yeah?
Yes.
What?
Obviously, how are we talking? But if you look at your Discord, hold on.
I see a Dieter picture. It's cool looking.
I'm a turtle!
Bear with me just.
Do I know what this thing is?
Hold on a second. So the portion of the ship, just to kind of give you some context, it looks like the point of it doesn't. I'm not going to try and do it. It's going to take too much time. The point of it is you are on the ship, and directly above you is empty space. But if you look on further, you see that just kind of like, I don't know, like you're in orbit, and it appears that you are looking straight up at a planet. Andari, you can go ahead and make me a perception check. You're looking down at Ixalan. That planet, that plane is Ixalan. And you seem to be outside of its this strange protective barrier that seems to be around it from what you can see.
All right, I take a moment and I'm searching for, just really quickly, across the landscape that I can see for any landmarks that I might recognize from my adventures there.
As that's happening, Chris, what's Bizbop doing? It doesn't seem that the effects of being out in empty space that you had down in the hold are taking you're not burning up, nor are you covered in a blue gelatin. You still have the helmets on, but it doesn't seem like there's any effects of the blinding eternities hurting you in this place. What would you like to do?
First, take a look. Does the ship look like it's wood on top or metal?
Sure does. The only parts that are metal appear to be those cannons on the side.
Bummer. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the bug thing, but try to move out of its vision a little bit back into cover.
I pop out of my shell.
Okay. As you guys are doing that, you see that 3 of these strange devices come off of its back, portions of its back, kind of come off of its back and kind of fly out in formation. And it seems that there's kind of like this central portion to it that's kind of focusing in on you guys, and you still hear that sound going.
Could I discern anything about its make, model, reputation? Is it a saucy young lad? What's going on?
You can attempt to make an Arcana check, I suppose, to try and ascertain what it might be.
Incoming. Hold on.
No problem. And then it seems to be
23, motherfucker.
it seems to be some form of iron golem, but it seems to have an ability to segment itself into smaller iron golems, flying ones. You think this might be just relative of where you're located. It's very strange, but you're certain that it's very similar to an iron golem. All right. Nefara is looking at it. Make an Arcana check, slightly different for you, because you might be actually familiar with this.
I'm certainly upset by the fact they're in formation.
That's
I prefer it when they're disorderly.
That's a pentavis. And the things that have come off of its back are known as pentavites. You are aware that it is an artifact, and it's typically, from what your lore tells you, it's typically not something that kind of focuses in on itself. It operates on a function or a goal. Why it's here, you're not sure, but it appears to be kind of focusing in on you. It might be trying to ascertain you guys' threats.
This is either benign or a serious threat, everyone.
I will tentatively wave at it.
Okay. The second your hand goes up to wave, you see one of the pentavites kind of turn and like focus in on you, and this beam of kind of greenish energy kind of scalds across the deck and lingers like for just a second before you as it rises up to kind of catch at your hand. Want to make an attack at you?
Okay.
That sucks.
Okay. So a 20 hits.
Yeah.
Take 14 points of damage. Fire damage.
I am unconscious.
14 points of damage kills you?
What?
Only level 1.
No, you're level 7.
You're level 7.
What?
Level 7 is
Wow, yeah.
you didn't get the memo. Level
Okay.
Level 7 is starting level.
What?
That changes things, doesn't it?
Yeah, hurry up and do that leveling real quick. You're level 7.
Ah!
Oh my god. No one decided to tell me that.
I also had to ask. I assumed level 1 as well.
Yeah, it's okay. It was in the character creation handout too, I think, but
There's a lot of
Which
reading
I
with this
didn't know
campaign.
exist until I asked either.
okay. So 14 damage won't kill you because you're not level 1. So we'll go ahead and just you do that. The rest of you, I assume, are going to assume this thing is hostile, and we're going to start brawling, right?
Yep.
That sounds awesome. Let's do it.
Super.
I didn't even get a chance to think about what was going on.
Yeah, well.
Also,
Now we know that it...
Do I know if this thing has? Before.
what was that?
Have I encountered these things before?
You've been to Mirrodin. Make an Arcana check. No,
Obviously, need to get proficiency in
But-
Arcana.
but you think it might be a mirror. But also from Eberron, you think it might be a golem of some sort. You're not sure. It's somewhere in between.
Do I know
Ah.
how many times it can segment itself?
5. It can have. It
Okay.
has 5 sections, all 5 of which you believe can be removed at once. You also are certain that when it does not have the pentavites on it, you rolled really good. When it doesn't have the pentavites on it, it is weaker itself. But if you were to strike out the pentavites specifically, it can recall them instead of them being destroyed.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'll relay this onto everyone else.
So as you guys are kind of taking
That's with advantage.
West Side, as you're taking the West Side Story kind of approach to like getting into the fight, Nafara's like, there's 5 of those things that can come off its back, and he's basically just quoting what I just said as you guys are snapping fingers and getting ready to fight. Wow, you guys suck at rolling initiative.
It's overrated.
To be fair, I rolled 3 times before I figured out how to make it stick on the turn order chart.
That's fair. Wait, you got a 21?
Not the 3rd time when I figured out how to make it work.
On the first one you did. That's the one that mattered. Oh wait, no, 10.
The first one was a 10, so the 8's fine. I don't care.
Okay. And then who am I missing? Select your token, and then on your sheet, click the initiative button.
Bingo.
There you go.
Yeah, so all I did was just up my health, so,
Okay.
That proficiency bonus went up, bruh.
yeah.
It's a 3.
Efficiency. Okay, so... I should have asked. I feel stupid.
As the pentavites kind of snap, shoo, 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 they release each one beam apiece, and then the large lumbering thing kind of just comes down onto the whatever the front of a boat is called. That's sure. They fire off each one a beam. Pew, pew, pew. And it would have been 1, 2, and 3. So it would have been first attack against the core, which misses, right? 14 misses your AC.
Yes.
Okay. 28 hits Nafara, right?
Yes.
15 fire damage. And then the last one against Endari, that's a crit, so 32 points
You
of fire
asshole.
damage.
Okay, so is that 32 altogether?
32 total for that beam, yeah. And it is real fire. It's not crazy fire. All right. Okay. The initiative goes to you, Med. If you need to hold off, if you don't know what you're doing yet, based on leveling, or if you're ready, go ahead and go for it.
Well, I mean, since I just threw my stuff together really fast anyway, I'm definitely... I guess I'll just try to do stuff.
The for just so you're aware, the pentavites are 10 feet off of the ground, so they're basically 5 feet above your head.
Okay. We got this one closer. I'm gonna walk over under it,
Okay.
and I'm gonna throw one of my nets up at it to try to bring it down.
Okay. You hurl the net up at it, and you see the pentavite kind of snap its eyes towards it. The net kind of like hits it, but it doesn't seem to like catch it. But even still, it seems there's kind of a reaction that you're triggering based on the attacking it. You see the pentavite in front of you kind of break into a bunch of different parts and move back to the larger creature, and then disappear into its back. It basically becomes parts and then lands in the back of the larger creature. All right. You guys witness this, and it goes to Chukwa. By the way, Chad, how pumped are you about me using Magic the Gathering monster such as Pentaviz?
Yeah, I was wondering what that was all about. I want to know what the fuck it's doing here. Also, I want to know if part of the map is also flat and or deck.
Anywho, it's downwards sloping metal. It's basically a stylistic kind of portion of the ship. You've seen the picture on the postings.
I gotcha. So it's not steady ground. I can't stand on it.
No, you'll fly right off.
Good to know. What about this staircase here?
Well, hold on. Shut up, Dieter's turn.
I'm just trying to pick a spell to cast! I think probably Scorching Ray.
All right.
I don't know why that happened. Why
Okay.
didn't it show me the fucking spell? Well, I'm casting Scorching Ray at the big super bug.
Okay. So that's one roll.
So I rolled three. I rolled 3 attacks,
Go for the other
and
two.
each one will do damage. So I'll roll 2 more. Hold your horses. So 17, 10, and 12.
Yep. So they all basically just bounce off of its iron shell.
Boof, boof, boof.
It seems to have a very strong kind of armored front that you're blasting at. It doesn't seem to be affecting it. All right, Bizbot.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic. I got rid of the fappy thing.
No, it's still there.
I'm going to move outward and
Lorenzo, your tapping's coming through.
actually, you know what, no. I'm going to stay back and shoot some magic missiles at the one to the left.
Okay. You're shooting at the one on the left? Okay, you see the bolts shoo, 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 fly off towards it. They all detonate into it, don't roll damage. The second they kind of start breaking it apart, the pentavite breaks into pieces and snaps. All those pieces fly back and then dock back into the back of the pentaviz.
Oh, well, fine then.
Okay. Endari, seeing the situation, and as it's been described by Nefara, you can see that attacks against the pentavites seem to be pointless. It's able to recall them before real damage is dealt to them.
All right. So, here's what I want to do. What is up with this staircase here?
Goes down.
Okay, so like how far down? Would I be able to have a clear shot at that thing from here?
Yeah, that's just a hop and a step up. It's just like a step up.
All right. Well, I kind of like the theater of the mind of shooting down at it.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm going over here. So that was what, 15 feet?
Yeah, it's technically above you, actually. Yeah. Okay.
Shooting arrow.
And make a ranged weapon attack. Make a couple, actually, I think. You're a 5th higher level ranger.
Yeah. But the first one's just going to be that attack.
Yeah.
So instead of my normal damage, it'll be that.
Right. So, dexterity saving throw. Target. You make the attack roll as normal. The target takes 48 damage on half as much as on a miss. So it's to take half of the 48 lightning. So go ahead and roll 48. Actually, don't worry about it. The lightning kind of like glistens on its body, but it doesn't seem to do anything. It seems to be immune to the lightning.
Scary.
That sucks.
Nefara, seeing that, it's kind of like...
I have a second attack, so I'm just gonna go
Yep.
ahead and shoot it.
It bounces off its hide. You guys are not doing very strong.
I will. Well, fuck me running. Can I hop down here and move another 15 feet to hide behind these boxes?
Okay. It's not hopping down, it's hopping up. The stairwell goes into the ship, not onto that deck.
Oh, I got you. So this is raised.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, well in that case, I just want to hunker down on the other side of the stairs.
Perfect. Well, it's not really stairs, it's just kind of... okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, good. Nefara.
It's a hard corner.
Yeah.
I don't suppose I can trust any of you to kill that thing with a little assistance.
Certainly not me.
All right then. I'm a cast hold person on it as a 3rd level spell.
Okay.
Oh, actually, sorry, just 2nd level spell. I only need him, not the.
It is not a humanoid.
Oh, it's true. Humanoid.
Okay. So you cast the spell, and you kind of see it kind of like linger for a second, and you hear the stop and go, and then it goes, it focuses in on you, confused. Right before its turn,
I don't think it appreciated that.
Right before
I'm
its
move away from that.
Okay. Right before its turn actually starts, it's going to use its legendary actions to use the board/disembark action, and it's going to basically just force out 3 more pentavites.
Okay.
Which all kind of move out and away from it very quickly. It looks like they're all kind of hovering or lingering over Endari. Then it goes to its turn. It's going to just wander to here. You can now see it like looming over you, its eyes looking down at you, Endari. And the pentavites all kind of swarm into kind of positions behind you and above you. When they do that, you also notice that they're kind of focused.
Fuck my life.
They're kind of focused or segmented over the 2 people that are directly behind you. All right. The one on the far left is going to shoot at Bizbop. The one in the middle there is going to shoot at Medb. And the one that is kind of near the turtle is going to shoot down at him. And then the one that's kind of off to the right is going to shoot at... why is my brain? Nefara. So 1 attack for shooting against each of you. Except Endari. First attack against Bizbop. 15 hits. I take 13. This is real fire, so you can have it. 13 against the core misses. We already covered that. The beam kind of streaks a burn mark across the wood. The next attack would be against the turtle. 11. Does that hit, Dieter?
Not even close.
Okay. And then last attack against Nefara. 17 against Nefara.
That hits.
15 fire damage. I would say you'd have +5 armor, but you have a 10 base AC, so basically it cuts into the wood and kind of catches you on the shoulder just a bit for the 13. You are resistant to fire damage, though, so... Alright. Med, it looks like the larger creature is now much smaller that the pentavites have released from it. It's still pretty big, but it looks like a large section of it has been removed because of the smaller sections.
Okay. And so these along the side, they are cannons.
Yes, they are. They appear to be cannons. They do have cannons in Zendikar, I believe.
Okay. I was just making sure that I was seeing them correctly.
Yeah.
I'm going to run over and see if I can like rotate it towards the big baddie.
Okay, so just moving it's going to take your action. So go ahead and just make an athletics strength check. Okay. You kind of start moving it and realize that it's tied down. You spend this entire turn basically making it so that the next time you move it, it'll be a lot easier. You basically remove the anchorings off of the ship's hull and kind of get it ready to be moved for next turn. That's what you do on this action. Okay, not bad, for that movement. As you're doing that, you see the Pentavate above you and the Pentavis, the large one, kind of focus their eyes on you. And then the Pentavite above you fires a firebolt down into you. A light beam. That'll hit for 19.
Nice. Yes.
And that's one of its legendary actions. All right, Chukwa. It seems to be focused on the guy with the cannon.
Let's see here, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of what to do strategically. The big one is focused on the guy on the cannon, or one of the little boys?
The big one's looking at him. The little one is above him, and it just shot a light beam at him.
I'll cast Magic Missile. I'll burn an extra level 1 spell slot to augment it with my Lore Master, so each little guy that gets hit takes an extra 2d10 damage.
And how many bolts are you?
3. So I'll hit one on the guy that's targeting cannon, I'll hit the one that targeted me, and I'll shoot one at Big Boy.
Okay, the one that's above the core, as the bolt kind of comes in close to it, the sound from the Pentavis changes to, and then like it breaks into its pieces and flies back onto the Pentavis. The one that's directly above you, it gets hit by its bolt. Go ahead and roll that damage.
1 second, my little thingy closed, I'm pulling it back up.
No worries. And then you said the other one was against the one to your right, right?
Right. Whichever one attacked me, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Now, if I click this spell, will it roll damage?
It should, but I've been lied to before in my life.
Uno momento, por favor. This is taking a long time. I'm sorry about that.
Perfectly acceptable. Okay.
What did that?
So it looks like the first bolt that attacked the one that was above the core did 2 plus 1.
2 plus 1.
And
Now, why does that say 13?
because it's counting all of them together.
Oh, well, here's the deal. Like,
No, hold your mouse over it.
I get that, but what I'm saying is that my class lets me add an extra 2d10 to each of these bolts. And I don't know how to add that functionally to this system.
Roll 2d10 3 times. Yeah. That's really strong. Okay, so the first one, we're just 2 is all I need, because the first one's going to return back regardless. So then you're dealing 9 plus 4 to the main one.
If that's how you want to play it, sure.
You said the guy on the left, the big one, and then the one attacking you.
Correct.
Yeah, and since the thing that was first attacked, you don't need to roll the damage for that one because it's ignoring it. It snapped back. And then the last one is 4 plus 12, so 16. Okay, the one that attacked you, the last bolt that gets hit, it looks like it's kind of got a big, like, just hole through it as the bolt snaps through it, and it looks like it's no longer able to kind of consistently, or you presume consistently, break apart to snap back like the other ones have been doing.
So did both little creatures snap back when I attacked them?
No, just the first one. It seems
What happened to the third one?
it's still hanging above you, but it's got a big just hole through it, and it seems to be kind of leaking this weird oil.
I'm confused. Can you explain to me more about like what happened? Because we don't even know how much
Sure.
damage I did to that.
Sure. So you've got the two targets, the one that was above the core and the one that attacked you, and then the middle target was the Pentavis. You
Correct.
fired at the first one. Before the bolt kind of hit, you saw it break into its parts and snap back onto the Pentavis, almost as if it were reactionary. Then the one that hit the big one dealt its damage to the big one. Not a whole lot of damage, compared to a large creature like that. The last bolt that you fired, you shot it into the one directly above you. It hit it. It didn't break apart and snap back. It's still lingering there in its space. It just has a hole in it now and seems to be bloodied.
Can I discern what changed to make one of them snap back and the other one not?
Yeah, it seems that the Pentavis is using its reaction to draw the thing back in.
So attacking more than one thing a turn might make a difference.
Seems to be that way.
In theory, then we should be able to kill these little things and take them out of commission, right? Because there's 5 of us attacking it and it only has one
Well,
reaction.
I'm not going to tell you how to beat it. If that's what you're thinking you're going to do, I mean, go for it. But I'm not having a conversation about the tactics that go into destroying me.
Nefara's gonna pipe in. That sounds like a good idea.
Does sound like a good idea. Bizbot.
I don't understand what's happening. Someone explain this to me.
Kill everything at once.
Well, that sounds violent.
Help the other guy kill everything at once.
Hold on. Chody.
But I'm a peaceful turtle.
Okay, Chody, what are you doing?
I'm gonna go ahead and shoot some more magic missiles.
Jody, I cannot hear you at all.
What about now?
Yeah, a lot better.
Perfect.
Better.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot some magic missiles at these guys, the small ones.
Okay, now my question. My question to you is: are you targeting focus fire the one that's already been wounded by the turtle? Are you going to shoot one dart at the 3 remaining ones, or do you want to add the big one into the equation?
I think I would go after one that's already been hit.
So all darts at that. Go ahead and make your attacks, or throw your spell.
And level wise, I can go up to 3, right?
Do you, boo? Okay. So, looks like that is higher level casting is just those 2 are added onto it. So 7 plus 8 is 15. Okay. You see the 5 bolts of force, not as empowered as the lore masters, but strong enough. It hits the thing and it kind of breaks into its parts, but the parts seem to kind of like be covered with oil and kind of sizzling as they hit the ground. The Pentavite kind of just drops onto the ground in front of the turtle. Do you have any movement, Chody?
I'm gonna move, try to get cover, a little bit more cover behind this.
Okay. Turtle. Not Turtle, sorry, Indari. Not even close to the Turtle. Turtle just went. Indari.
Turtle.
What am I gonna do?
Should have been thinking about that before now.
I mean, I can either run away or I can try and fight something. Fuck it. I'm going to Misty Step again.
Okay. And go ahead, move. I know what it does. Okay. A silver line appears from start position to end position, and Indari appears over by the boxes on the deck.
Then I'm gonna make 2 attacks against this guy.
Okay. He's up in the air. You're shooting at him with the bow. Got it. Go ahead. Okay. Hit and hit.
Damage for the first one.
Damage for both.
Damage for the second one.
Okay. It seems to be leaking a bit of oil. Immediately after your turn, the Pentavis kind of focuses in on that Pentavite and kind of changes its pitch to, and then it breaks into its consistent parts and moves onto the Pentavis and disappears.
Well, I'm just gonna
Nefara.
I'm just gonna back away a little bit, and I'm gonna cast Greater Invisibility on our turtle.
Okay.
So he is invisible
Touch.
no matter what he does. Oh, is it touch? That's fine. I'll just go ahead and magic missile 2 at the Pentavis, 1 at the remaining Pentavite.
Okay. Throw the spell.
Yep.
So it looks like the 2 of the Pentavis will do 4, 5, 6, and the Pentavis or Pentavite will take 4.
I think so.
Okay. As a its last legendary action, the Pentavis itself will shoot a bolt of fire at Endari. The light beam. 21 points of damage. Against the ranger. Alright. And then it'll go to its turn. It'll move. I think I can. Oh my god, I get to fight with this thing. It's going to basically just start slamming on the core. 1 attack. 2 attack. And it has 1 more. And 3 attack. Okay, so what's your AC, Lorenzo?
16.
Okay, so you're going to take a total of 31 points of damage, it looks like. As it basically comes in and starts beating you with its metal club of arms that are like metal clubs.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's certainly not friendly. It goes to your initiative.
Well, I guess it's a little too close at this point to try to shoot with the cannon.
You'd still need to move the cannon, and load the cannon. You could load the cannon. Yeah, again, loading and firing a cannon is not an instantaneous thing. It's something that definitely takes a while. If you'd had some help, it probably would have worked better. But in this current position that you're in, it doesn't look like it's going to be something that's plausible. And you kind of get a sense that it was afraid of that being done, and that's kind of why it's focused on you as it's done.
Okay, so I mean, I at least had the right idea.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea, yeah.
Well then, I will try to get the fuck out of here. Because I cannot take any more of that.
Okay, disengage is an option if you want to get away from it without taking damage.
If I use miss.
Yep, teleporting away is fine. And you'll still get your action too if you want to.
So I'll use ethereal step to use etherealness.
Okay. Oh, so you're okay. So you're now ethereal instead of tangible.
And
wander away.
I will wander away and try to hide.
Sure. Ethereal step does still count as an action, though. It's not Misty step. So.
Well, no, not actually hide. Just get behind the boxes.
Perfectly fine. Chukwa.
I'm going to try Scorching Ray again, but I'm going to change the elemental type to energy this time.
Change the
Force, whatever it's called. Force.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit this button 3 times. They're all going at the big bug.
Got it.
Savvy?
Got it.
22, 18, and 20.
All right, so you deal a total of 13 points of damage to it.
The 18 miss.
Yeah. And it looks like the force does seem to be working. It's not like super effective. It's just not effective like charm person or hold person.
Is there any skill that I can roll to see if I can figure out what this thing is weak to? How do you learn weaknesses in 5th edition?
I mean, you would want to know about the
Lightning
creature.
didn't do anything at all.
Yeah, it was immune to lightning. It's being dealt force damage fine. No one's dealt fire damage to it yet, so you don't know. But yeah, it would be an action for you to try and utilize, like, perceive it and see what's going on with it. But so far, force is working, so may not be necessary.
Did we say it was immune to lightning? We figured that out already?
Yeah, someone shot a lightning arrow at it and it didn't do shit.
Not what I was expecting.
Bizbob.
Yeah, me neither.
He was hoping it was a robot, not an artifact.
I'm gonna go ahead and try to Scorching Ray it.
Okay.
We'll try some fire.
3 times. Bang, bang, bang.
Fuck yeah!
Okay, first one hits. The last 2 miss.
That one
Is
crits.
this +2 from being a war mage?
He's not a war mage.
Why does he get 8+2?
He crit. That's the crit roll.
Oh.
Yeah. But when it hits, it's actually supposed to be maximized for crit damage. I don't know why it's not for you, so it should be 12. So it's actually 20. But you notice that...
Why is crit damage less?
Because that's how I roll, baby. Anyways, it shoots the bolts. When it hits the thing, you see that it leaves large scorch marks on it, but it does seem to damage it. But knowing how fire is supposed to work, Bizbop is kind of a pro at this. You realize that it's not as effective as you want it to be. It seems to be resistant to fire. And Dart.
I have Elemental Adept Fire.
Oh, so it ignores resistance? That's right.
Yes.
It seems to be super effective.
Well done.
All right. And Dart.
Hunter's mark on the big guy.
Okay. And then
2 attacks.
do it. Is your bow magical?
It is.
Good. Hit. 20 damage. Plus, is your D6 is already in there? Okay. 29 damage. Okay. Seems to would
And I'm gonna fall back 30 feet.
Well, okay. Go ahead. Yep. As a legendary action, it'll move the Pentavite over your head.
You son of a bitch.
Nefara.
I am going to Magic Missile it as a 3rd level spell.
Okay. Don't worry about rolling it. As they shoot at it, you see that it breaks apart into its consistent parts and snaps back to the Pentavis. You fire your magic missiles
okay.
and expend the spell. It instead of taking the damage, it leaves.
I was just saying that it was going to be 3 on the Pentavis and 2 on the other guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. So 3 on the Pentavis then.
Yep.
Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah. Alright.
I guess I tipped my hand a bit there. You could have just said 4 on the Pentavis and 1 on the other one.
I know.
Yeah, but thank you for making it sound like it was actually what you might have done. So the 3 would be, so that's actually, okay, 9. Cool. All right.
And I'm as I can.
It has one last legendary action, so it will use its light beam. I'm going to.
Is that something I can counterspell?
It's not a spell.
But is it magic?
It is magic, but it's not a spell. Countering a spell means that you're interfering with the verbal, somatic, or material components in some way to basically deactivate the spell. This is raw magical energy being fired out of its eyes. Basically, you can't counterspell Dragon Breath. Light beam. I'm gonna shoot it at this freaking turtle because he's trying to start shit. Take 19 points of fire damage.
That's fine.
It also felt a bit petty from my point of view, but thank
It's
you.
literally that meme where everything's on fire and you're just like, I'm fine.
But he's a turtle. It'll go to it, and again, closest target. It seems to be this turtle. So since everybody else has run away, I'm gonna go in and slam on him. I have 3 of my pentavites inside. Or 2 plus 1, I mean. First attack, second attack, and third attack. So your AC is probably less than 19, so...
My AC is 18.
Okay, cool. So then you're going to take 31... Bad at math. What's 16 plus 18?
34.
That's the damage that you take.
I'm at -2.
0. There's only 0.
-2.
0. Medb, you see the turtle get beaten down with the... I mean, you're the only one who really understands the pain that he just suffered. And he seems to have fallen to it. Yeah.
I do not. I'm just not really sure all of what I can do against it. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. You're still technically ethereal, yeah?
No, because of that, it ends on 1.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it is just alone now,
Yeah, all the pentavises are back in its back.
and it's facing the other direction.
It's kind of facing down at the turtle. Yeah.
I'm gonna run back over to that cannon that I loosened
Mhm.
and direct it. Well, no, I'm going to load it
Okay.
so that I can I direct it,
And shoot it.
position it, and fire it on one turn?
Potentially. It'll be a check, but yeah.
Okay, so I will.
Okay. After your turn is completed, and it's in between you and Shukwa, the thing's still kind of looking down at the turtle, but you hear the same kind of screeching sound that it made when you went for the cannon last time, and one of the pentavites releases off of his back and flies over your head. It's about 5 feet over you. Turtle, death saving throw, please. Success. It's 1 success. Biz Bob Big Bang. You are on the other side of the mast. If you look around it, you can see a turtle on the ground. If you look at the other side of it, you see Pentavis. And off in the corner there, you see a pentavite floating over your white-haired female friend. I say friend.
I'm gonna go ahead and do 1 on the pentavite, or magic missile. 1
Okay.
on the pentavite and 2 on the big guy.
Reactionarily, it will pull the pentavite back in. And go ahead and throw your 2 darts on. Just roll the spell attack, I'll figure it out. Based on the order you set it in. So, it looks like you cast it as a higher level spell.
Yes,
So this,
that should be my last level 1 spell.
oh, just level 1.
That was
Okay.
okay.
So then the first one would have gone against the pentavite. The other 2 would have been 4, 5, 6. Okay. Seems pretty wounded. Very wounded. Actually, that hit causes one of the pentavites on its back to fall off.
I try to taunt it away from the turtle.
Okay. It doesn't seem to be focused. I mean, it's still looking at the turtle, but as you kind of see it starting to slowly wind up and turn around, which will say it goes ahead and does, it's making a sound as it's focusing in on the core woman. Endari. Yep, perfect line right through that, between the masks and the boxes. Good shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna move just a little bit closer because I need to be within 30 feet of it.
Okay,
Right there's 30 feet.
sure.
Planner Warrior on the big guy. Oops, didn't mean to click that twice. And then make 2 longbow attacks.
Okay.
Ouch. Jesus.
Roll a 20-sided dice. Okay. You feel like as you're firing the arrow, the string at the top seems to be kind of like loosening a bit, but you manage to get the shot off. You go ahead and take the next shot if you'd like.
Woo!
Yeah, if you'd rolled if you'd rolled a 10 or lower, it wouldn't have. That string would have snapped right off. Anywho, phew, it hits the thing and kind of bounces off of it. It seems that the force energy kind of directly kind of smatters across the hide, and kind of just whoosh, splashes out. Okay. Nefara, after
I'm gonna go get behind this cannon over here.
Oh, for sure. I figured you were moving. I was just moving on. Nefara.
Yeah, I'm gonna magic missile at level 1.
Okay.
Do I? Yeah, I'll do that.
Shoo, shoo, shoo. Throw it. All right. It takes all 11 points.
And behind the stairs from me.
Oh, so the stairs actually lead up to doors that are set in a wall, which is a larger part of the ship. The back end of the ship actually goes up higher than you are, but you're kind of on the long out front of it. There's a picture of it on the Discord. I'll eventually get it on here. I haven't scanned it yet. It's just a photo of my drawing.
It's all right.
Yep.
This is good.
It'll take its last legendary action for the turn, and it will fire a bolt of energy at... I really don't like this cannon guy. I'm going to go ahead and go for him.
No.
Yep.
Oh.
Hold on a second. Ooh. You said you loaded the cannon, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, this could be fun. Roll me... Actually, do me a favor. I've got it here. I'm not going to roll it physical. I'm gonna roll a real life dice, and I want you to tell me whether I rolled. And this is what you want to hit. Is it high or low?
You're so mean.
It's a 50-50.
Oh, have you rolled it already?
I rolled already.
What size die did you roll?
20-sided. I just got it in the mail today. Actually, it's I got the loot crate with the little dragon on it. Sponsor me. No one watches the show.
What color is the die?
It is black. Are you
What is your favorite color?
Black.
So black, and it's his favorite color, makes me think it's lucky, but also capitalist greed makes me think unlucky, so I think it's still 50.
I'm gonna say low.
Okay, so I did roll a 1 the first time I rolled this dice, so that
Yes!
is good times. The second the light beam kind of passes you by, you kind of move aside, like reflexively, away from the cannon, but you see that the cannon actually gets kind of caught up in the light beam a bit, and it seems to cause the thing to start to detonate. What you realize, though, is that when you moved it the last time and kind of got it free of its anchors, you pulled it out of the wall, so the cannon is actually set up against a solid surface. It fires, but because of the force of the explosion, it causes the cannon itself to actually fusillade back and slam into the Pentavis. Roll me 5d6.
Yeah.
And one last thing from you. I just need you to make me a Constitution saving throw.
That was statistically above average.
You are deafened for 1 minute. The first sound is just the, and then the bang, and yeah, it was a good roll, statistically above average. Okay, but yeah, that's its legendary action. It goes to its turn. It's kind of got this cannon stuck in the side of it, the back end of the cannon stuck in the side of it, and it's kind of like kind of looking around and trying to figure out what its next target is. It looks at the gnome for some reason. Its eyes focus in on it, and it's just going to kind of go rampant. It fires several light beams in at the gnome. And by several, I mean 2 light beams in at the gnome. Oh, shit.
I'm going to port into that first one into a 1.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well played. And then the second one, that one will hit. Chody, as Bizbop's kind of turning to look at this thing and it's now focusing in on you in this weird confused state, this light beam comes shooting out at you, and you just feel like this weird feeling of like destiny, and you kind of look at it and you're like, I am going to die. And then you kind of like feel this weird like flash, something kind of come from over where Nafar is at, and you look over at the mage, like over there in the corner, like just skulking behind the steps and like looking over at you like and
it was foretold.
and the beam misses you because you turn to look at him, and it kind of hits the wall without damaging you. The second beam that comes out of its eyes does hit you though, and you'll take 16, so 8 fire damage. All right, Med. The cannon plan kind of worked.
I mean, yeah, it backfired.
I see what you did there, and I approve.
I'm. How high? Like, what height difference is between the floor that we're on and this upper part?
Like a step.
Okay. I'm gonna run that way
To the ballista.
towards the ballista.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
I
turn,
don't know.
if you get to it there, I'll allow you on this turn as your action to move around to the back end of it and turn it while you're moving. You won't be able to fire it, but you can basically turn it so it's pointed.
I mean, that I can only make it just before it with 30.
Yeah, I know. When you're touching the back end of it, it's pointed the wrong way. With your action, you're going to spin around it to turn it and point it in the right direction. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That
So you're,
is lower.
yep.
Okay, cool. That sounds good to me.
Chuck, what? Death saving throw. Number 2. That's 1 failure. Toro's looking bad, guys. Bizbot.
Oh, sorry, I lagged. I am going to kill this thing.
What are you casting on it? Got any spells bigger than Magic Missile?
I got 2 more Scorching Rays.
Bunch of wusses. Alright. Take your shots. Miss. Keep shooting. Miss.
Ugh.
And miss. Yep. 3 bolts of energy kind of just, or fire kind of just slam into it and kind of just dance across its hide. And Dari. Hop up on that cannon and start shooting arrows at it.
Move there. Planar warrior, shoot it twice.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Go ahead with another. You didn't roll 2 bad ones, so no need to roll. Second attack.
Woo!
What do you get for your second attack?
There we go.
There it goes. Alright, go ahead and give me that damage. It should be a bit. They're pretty bad, dude. They're pretty bad. I need damage, though. So 9 plus 4 plus 8 is 13, 21. Solid. As it hits, you see a third pentavite kind of drop off of its back from the hit as you basically put a hole kind of directly through it.
And I'm going to use my remaining movement to just like get behind as much cover as possible.
Okay. As that happens, it as its legendary action, it will cause another pentavite, one of its last pentavites, to remove off of its back and snap over to the ballista. It really doesn't like the artillery.
No.
And then Nefara?
Level 3 magic missile, one at the pentavite, the rest at the pentavis.
Okay. It doesn't seem to initiate its reaction to draw the pentavite back in, so go ahead and roll damage for the d4.
Okay.
And so it'll be 5 against the pentavite, okay? And 5 against it. Oh, you cast it at a higher level, or no?
Yeah,
It keeps-
as a third level spell.
Okay, so then you said 1 against the pentavite and the rest against the pentavis?
Yes.
Okay. So the first one, like I said, was that 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 8, so 13 against the pentavis.
Mm-hmm.
It's really damaged. And then before its turn concludes, it will use the pentavite to shoot at the core. You're kind of hiding behind the ballista, so I'm going to grant you cover. But because of its higher position, it's just regular cover, not full. So +2 to your AC. Oh my god. Okay.
That's the bowstring completely fucks itself.
It will go to its turn. It will continue to just rage shoot at the halfling. It's only taking 2 shots instead of 3. 14 hits and 17 hits. So that would be, looks like 33 halved is 16 damage. Jody.
I'm not a halfling.
I said halfling. I meant gnome.
I know what you mean. I'm just being stupid.
They're all short people. I'm sorry. I'm kind of a bigot in that way against those two. They're basically the same guy. One's just more elemental and one's more sneaky. Terrible person. Med, you got the ballista turned and pointed at him. You are taking the shot. Make a dexterity check. You are not proficient with ballistas, so just dexterity.
Okay, just a straight dex or
Straight dex roll, yep. Okay. Okay, it's mounted, so I'm going to say it has advantage because of that. So it will, and also it's kind of planarly similar, so it's fine. It hits. Roll me. Looks like 3d8s. Okay, it slams right into its head, and kind of, and just falls on itself. When it does, though,
Really?
the pentavite parts start to kind of become like intangible and start kind of becoming greenish colored and start fading away. The pentavite above you zips off into astral space, and then the big pentavis starts to just kind of fall away as well. It's just its body, its iron-looking body, starts to just kind of become this weird energy and wisp off of the ship.
All right, so all the stuff that died disappeared, but the one that survived flew away.
Correct.
Which way did it go? Did it go down towards Ixalan?
No. Out into astral space.
Okay.
All right. Med, that's your turn. Chukwa, give me a death saving throw.
Yeah, I run over and save the turtle as quick as I can.
2 successes, and Chad will be able to save you on this turn. Immediately after the completion of the fight, like as you're basically getting the turtle up, you hear a voice come from the deck of the ship. It seems like the whole ship is kind of emanating this sound, and it says, "The planeswalker of this craft has fled. The planeswalker of this craft has fled.
Oh,
Pilot-
interesting.
Pilot required, or orbit will be lost. Pilot required, or orbit will be lost."
Anyone any good at flying?
Where?
Ship?
Where's the helm?
Great
I
question.
guess in the back.
Great question.
Uh,
You've actually been to the helm. You know where it's at. It is down a bit, but you don't know how to get to it from here. If you were able to
So I know how
fly,
to get to it from like, I've got a climbing speed. Can I just like
oh, if you want to climb out on the outside of the ship,
shenanigans my way down to it? I have like a rope and a grappling hook.
yeah.
Like,
If you want to try that, it sounds like it might be some effort to do that though.
okay. Well, I mean, if I think it'd be more expeditious to just like find a normal way there, then that's
Sure.
what I'm gonna do.
Basically, because of the hour, and just to make sure we kind of come to a nice tight closing, basically what you end up hearing is that same kind of thing coming from just every aspect of the ship as you descend down, and then it kind of stops and it says, "Welcome, Planeswalker. You are in control of the ship." And it's before you guys find your way to the center core. If you guys finally come around to a point where you get to where that is, you kind of open up the door and enter into the crystal room where the priest's tongue floats in the air, the powering source of the ship, and the sphere where you can actually look at the planes. You've probably been in this room, Bizbop. And Dari, I don't know if Hadrian ever introduced you to this room, so probably not. You've probably been on the outskirts. But now that you see it, you kind of look at it fascinated, and you see that standing over the table, where the planar map is kind of standing before her, is this blonde-haired woman, and she kind of looks over at you and she says, "My name is Lasatu Rasan, and I suppose you're in need of a pilot." And that's where we're going to end the session.
I'll just call you Lisa.
That's fine. The character introduction, it's mine. It's getting late, and that fight took a lot longer than I thought it would. You guys were missing really bad.
Yeah, I'm not very
I
good
rolled
against
3
robots.
ones in a row.
Yeah, you rolled a lot of bad dice. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream.
Okay.